Okay, I'll take an open roll call for the open workshop. January 25th, 2017. Trustee Cruz is here. Trustee Desmond is here. Trustee Finnerty is absent. Trustee Garlick is here. Trustee Lawande is here. Trustee Munoz is here.
Present.
Trustee Ryan is here. Vice President Wilbeck and President Broderick are both here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to get to. We'll start with the consent agenda. Approval of minutes. All our minutes up until January 5th have been received. Okay, so I have all of that. Communications, there's only one addition. Alicia DeMaria, special needs, you haven't seen that. That's a new communication that came in this afternoon. The other two you had at home. I just need to know who would like to move and second the consent agenda?
I'll move.
Trustee Cruden, who would like to second?
Wait a minute.
And Trustee Ryan, thank you. Okay. That's our communication.
Consent is up to what number?
I'm sorry?
Dr. Maida, consent is up to what number resolution?
It is 1 to 33.
Here's one that you changed.
There was a conflict, I took it out, I put it on non-consent.
Okay.
If that's the one we're talking about. I'll start with number 3, money received. This was all done at finance, and this is in the package that had been sent home, actually at last week's meeting and had been sent home. Most of these early resolutions were the packet that I included at last week's meeting. For our reports, as you can see, all our reports for December have been received. Same thing, everything was gone over at finance. Give you a chance to look at number 5, our claims and accounts.
Dr. Maida, before we move on.
Yes.
We've given out the reports, the superintendent's reports to everyone. Does anyone have any questions about those reports? I gave them out to you last week. No?
They were the pink folder.
Yeah, I
The
have.
books.
The book.
Yeah.
Any questions on that? And also on the custodian of school monies report, specifically, I want to know if there are any questions on that. Mr. Smith can answer them for you. Nope, okay.
No.
Okay, I'll move on then to number 6, is approval of the field trip. No cost to the district. You'll see the Northern New Jersey Junior Science and Humanities Symposium.
You have a question, Chris?
Was there a question?
Yeah, Dr. McGeehan.
Yes, sir.
I know, I did hear some field trips were being scaled back because of budgetary concerns.
Yes.
I was just wondering, how are we going about determining which ones go through and not? Because I did hear that the field trip that was previously approved for the Culinary Arts Department to go to New Orleans,
Yes.
that might be in jeopardy now because of budgetary reasons, so I wanted to see if that was
No,
true.
that's not true.
Okay.
First of all, these field trips, that most of them that are here are ones that have been approved before we decided to cut back. On that other trip, the culinary trip, that has been canceled by the teacher in charge because he did not have enough participants in. Is that right, Dr. Degnan, you want to add to
That
that?
is correct. This is a competition that we go through every year. This is free of charge. It's sponsored by the United States military. This is where we had the young lady that went to Ohio last year for the national championship. I think they gave her an honor. The one you're talking about that we had to Savannah, Georgia, I believe, that was not allowed because of lack of participation.
Now, understand, I'm not questioning the field trip itself, I just want to make sure that field trips are not being canceled because, and denying students educational opportunities because of budgetary restraints. That's what I'm concerned about.
Well, some of them are being looked at, and they are being canceled because we were told to do that by this board, because it is a cost. We're looking at each field trip, and...
This board told you to cancel field trips for students?
It was one of our budget cuts.
Okay,
All field trips are being looked at.
we
Yes,
read,
we did say that.
Reviewed, right.
right, but for no cost to the district, you know, I don't see, I shouldn't be canceled, but I'm being
No,
told
I don't
that,
think they're the ones that.
I'm
we're
being
talking
told that
about.
trips are being denied because of school buses.
Only ones that would cost.
If you
Okay.
could be more specific, then I could help you
Okay,
out, but
I'll-
I don't know. We have many field trips
Okay.
daily, so I really would need to know what trip you're
Okay, I just want to
talking
make sure
about.
that, you know,
Trustee, there's also a sub when there are trips are taken, there is some cost for providing a sub for the day also, just that. $70.
okay, thank you.
And that particular field trip that you were talking about, Savannah, Georgia, that was about, I believe, $650 per student.
Yes,
That's correct.
And that was money that was to be raised by the students or paid by the parents that were involved in the culinary program. And obviously, the students could not come up with that money.
okay,
And had nothing to do with any kind of budget cuts or anything like that, because that was paid for, the bus was paid for by that fee. Correct? I'm correct on that, right?
You're correct.
okay.
Number 7, we're adding personnel, 1 member to the Bayonne Adult Alternative High School staff list. Eight is personnel to the Math Olympiad. It's being sponsored by the Education Foundation, so it's no cost to the district. Nine is our monthly harassment, intimidation, and bullying report. I'll turn it over to Mr. Topaz.
In accordance with the Bayonne Board of Education Policy 5512, an incident of harassment, intimidation, and bullying has been reported, investigated, and confirmed at Henry E. Harris School on December 14, 2016. Strategies and resources have been provided to the victim to assist in the recovery process. Consequences and remedial measures were given to the offender. All documentation is being retained by the anti-bullying coordinator. In accordance with the Bayonne Board of Education Policy 5512, 5 incidents of HIV have been reported and investigated at Dr. Walter Robinson School on December 16th, 20th, and January 3rd and 12th. There was no confirmed evidence of the investigated acts of HIV in all 5 cases. Strategies, resources, and remedial measures were implemented. All documentation is being retained by the anti-bullying coordinator. In accordance with the Bayonne Board of Education Policy number 5512, an incident of harassment, intimidation, and bullying has been reported, investigated, and confirmed at Bayonne High School on December 20, 2016. Strategies and resources have been provided to the victim to assist in the recovery process. Consequences and remedial measures were given to the offender. All documentation is being reviewed by the anti-bullying coordinator. In accordance with Bayonne Board of Education Policy 5512, an incident of harassment, intimidation, and bullying has been reported, investigated, and confirmed at Woodrow Wilson School on January 3rd, 2017. Strategies and resources have been provided to the victim to assist in the recovery process. Consequences and remedial measures were given to the offender. All documentation is being retained by the anti-bullying coordinator. In accordance with the Bayonne Board of Education Policy number 512, an incident of HIV has been reported and investigated at Harvest Man School on January 11, 2017. There is no confirmed evidence of the investigated act of HIV. Strategies, resources, and remedial measures were implemented. All documentation is being retained by the anti-bullying coordinator. In total, 9 cases, 3 confirmed. Okay, that is the report for the month.
10 is approval of the 2015-16 ESEA No Child Left Behind carryover amendment. You'll see the total amount, $319,130. Is an agreement with High Scopes. This is a coaching training for 8 days, various pre-kindergarten classes for the months of January, February, and March. And this is coming from preschool education funds. Chance to look at number 12, we're adding personnel to curriculum writing, there's only the highlighted names. You'll see it on the next to the last page. And there's been no change to this since the resolution I sent home.
These teachers were added because at the beginning of the year, some people put in letters of intent that said they wanted to write. For whatever reason, they cannot complete the project, so we had to put people on to finish grade 1 and 2 science. They started the project, they said they can't commit commitments, so we have to add somebody to complete it. Remember, curriculum is part of NJQSAC indicator, it has to be in place, and we are following the plan. We're not adding any additional funding.
13 is a field trip that we previously approved in November, but it's being changed because of a date change. It's being moved to March. Bayonne High School cheerleading. Is an interlocal agreement with the Hudson County Office of Cultural and Heritage Affairs. It's the Hudson County Alliance for Teen Artists. 15 is appointment of personnel to 12th grade appeals portfolio. And you'll see English language arts and math.
Do you know how many students going to require for further appeal?
Cal, we spoke a little bit about this at the committee, that actually we're down to 44 in English language arts. That's why we have one teacher. Also a reminder that English goes 9, 10, 11, and 12, so some of them can complete that in the school day. We're adding more math because there are more math appeals, but also because Math 12 is not a graduation requirement, so some of those students have to pick it up after school. But we are continuing to give the ASVAB, which is the military test, and the active placer to get students off the list. So we are running at a very good price here to make sure that our students are successful and get a diploma in June.
It's a pretty important program, actually,
I know, yeah. I just wondered how many.
and it's well-run.
Resolution 16, because the state of New Jersey raised the minimum wage to $8.44, we needed to make a correction on this rate of pay sheet. You'll see the first group, high school students. That was the only category that was changed.
I have a question about this, the rate of pay. It says certified substitute 60 credits is $15 an hour, contracted secretarial is $14 an hour. So I guess my question is, if I'm not mistaken, the contracted secretarial staff is part of the BTA?
Yes.
Okay, so how is I'm just curious, how are non-union members being paid at a higher rate than a union member within the district?
No, he's questioning why a substitute is making more than
I mean, should it not be at least at equal pay?
secretary. Substitute does have 60, a minimum of 60 credits. Secretaries may not have that. This was just raised, I believe, last year. We went from $12 to $14 an hour with the contracted secretaries.
It's terrible.
It can be revisited, and if you'd like to revisit it, we certainly can. I can bring it to the next finance committee meeting.
Okay.
The substitution.
I just have a question, so I understand this. Aren't there two different skill groups? Which are very different in the amount of either education or skills necessary to do that job?
Absolutely.
No one else?
Number 17 is a field trip for Bayonne High School senior prom. Then we have a handicap placement. First one is Essex Valley School. One student. January 3rd to June 2017, $37,340.
Do we know what transportation is for this, or is this?
This student is actually in Essex, is in the school.
Oh, okay.
It's a residential. We are just
Okay.
paying for the educational part of it.
19 is one student to Westbrook Academy, July to June, $40,972.
Is this residential also, or will we transport it?
This is, I believe, is a transport.
We can get you that figure, trustee, from the transportation.
I don't have that yet. 20, we have one staff member, a substitute going to the teen center.
Is this the second person? Did we just,
For teen center?
well, maybe that's, never mind.
Substitute.
This is the only resolution I have for teen center.
Okay.
Certified substitute.
21 is the approval of the School Board Recognition Month. Okay, I'll turn this over to Mr. Smith as a resolution for appropriation transfers on certain line item accounts.
As we discussed in finance, this was tabled at our November meeting and again in December. By making these appropriation transfers, we're now caught up until December 31st, and you will be seeing these throughout the year. Once again, when we do more than 10% of any appropriation transfer, we will need to get county approval, so you know, so we don't get a citation on the capital report next year, and we've been up to speed with those. This gets all our programs up and running and where they need to be.
This is number 22. 23 is a corrective action plan to the Elementary and Secondary Education Act.
This corrective action plan was sent home with you on Friday for review. It was also discussed in committee with trustees Pruden and Ryan. We need 95% participation for the park because we take the federal funding. And basically put a corrective action plan into place because there was various schools and there was also some subgroups that did not meet the 95%. When we did the HESPA and MJS, we were traditionally always at 100%. When the park first rolled out, there was like some concerns from parents. A lot of people refused. Again, there is no opt-out. We were very aggressive in getting people to participate in the park. As a matter of fact, we went on many tours to different schools. We had many, we sent many updates out. I think we went through the corrective action plan. You see we're going to continue with that. We have broadcast letters communicating through schools. We talked about analyzing the data, meeting with teachers and supervisors, sharing and monitoring the best practices. And again, yes, Trustee.
I just want some clarification on the no opt-out.
Correct.
Who's saying there's no,
The federal government says that
it's because of the funding?
there's no opting out. In the state, they will not take the funds for refusing the test. However, the federal clause wants a 95% participation rate. That's a federal clause. However, if the student chooses to refuse, that's the difficulty then. We don't do a sit and stare. We don't tell someone to sit in front, right? So we give it, and the instructional program of the day is assessment. When the students come in, that's the assessment. So they're moved to another room, they're allowed to read the reading materials, but ultimately our goal is to see that we get closer to 100%.
When is the park supposed to be part of the mandatory, graduation?
By 2021, the students will have to sit for the park before we can open up the portfolio appeals. So there will be no opportunity. Now, does that mean they need to be successful on it? We would like them to be, but they just have to sit for Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, English 9, 10, and 11. As long as they sit for those tests, no matter what score they have, they can still go through the alternate assessment for the portfolio appeal.
So that'd be kind of a correlation to, like you said before, those 44 people we're dealing with right now.
Correct.
That's what I was just saying.
But we would like them to pass through the park. That would be the ultimate. Just a reminder, the graduation requirement now is Algebra 1 and English 10, so that the trustees are informed. Those were the tests of record.
I know, just to give you a picture, we have 12 schools that were evaluated on the participation rate. 6 of the schools met the 95% participation rate, and the others were just below it. The lowest we had was 92, one was 93. Actually, I'm sorry, one was 91.8, one was 92.8, 92.8, 92.4. So those principals are working on encouraging the students that missed the test to participate in the test. And it's greatly improved in comparison to what it was when we first, became involved in the park and everyone was walking on it. So I really think that has become part almost of the fabric of the school now, and then I certainly think that we will have an increase to meet that 95% participation rate.
We also put a plan in place last year to reduce the impact on instructional time because we moved to large testing sites. I mean, for the first year, we had many sites in the high school. Then we moved to cafeterias, the West Gym. We looked at the main gym. So we were able to move more through the process. And that's because of the increased bandwidth, the access points, the Chromebooks. So we had a plan, and we will continue with that.
Well, I was one of the authors, and I'm not sure I'm completely rehabilitated, so I'm just paying attention.
Number 25 is the monthly community education list. Let the record show Trustee Finnerty is with us. Yes, I'm sorry, 24 is inside. So we just did 25. 26, This is actually our textbook lease. Once again, we went over this with finance. I think there was a little misunderstanding when it was presented. This is allowing us to go out and inventory, the first step in the process.
I'll take the blame for that one.
That's okay.
That's fine.
Just remember, this is on consent. If someone has a problem, please tell me now. Okay, 27, home instruction staff. Give you a chance to take a look at 28 is our student teaching resolution, all New Jersey City University for the spring semester. 29 will be for inside. 30, we heard about this last week. Two of our teachers applied for a grant with the Rockefeller Foundation Grant Program and the Hamilton Education Project. We have 100 students in grade 11 going to a matinee of Hamilton and then attending a question and answer. Still looking to see if they need any more chaperones.
And just remember, the ticket's $10, but that's it. So it's really quite an opportunity for our students. We're very pleased that our director and our teachers were able to get together and apply for this.
31, we have another handicap placement for a student, starting January 17th to June, $34,775.
Is that transportation too again?
No.
I mean, we have to pay for transportation.
Yes, we'll get
What
that.
we're going to do going forward, I just talked to Laura Z, we'll include the transportation costs on any tuition contracts that come up going forward. This way you get a full picture of the cost of the district.
32 is our monthly resolution, personnel of various positions. You'll see substitute teacher aides as needed, substitute teachers as needed, food service workers as needed, and substitute secretary as needed.
I do have a question in general about anything on tonight's agenda that wasn't anticipated before the budget was before we submitted a budget for this current year. Is there anything on here that was not anticipated and not accounted for and funds aren't set aside for?
In regards to salaries of everybody who is currently working, everything has been encumbered. That is covered and taken care of. The sheet number 32 now is on an as-need basis, and we do have money in our substitute pool if they are needed.
And the tuitions and transportation?
Tuitions and transportations can come at you. That's why the extraordinary aid is so important in the formula when we do it. If you've noticed over the last couple of years, our extraordinary aid, which would pay for anything over 40% of these costs, has been decreasing.
But our numbers aren't.
But our numbers are not, right. But we do have one of the lowest ratios of sending students out of district. Our special needs student superintendent, I think we have about 40 or 41 that we send out.
Yes, right.
Out of a total special needs population of some 1,500 students, which speaks volumes about the work that we do in-house with those special children.
But there are just some children, we just don't have the facility, we don't have the staff because their needs are so individual that we just can't take care of their needs.
Okay, the last resolution on consent, 33, it's an agreement with Progressive Therapy of New Jersey. It's a state-approved agency that provides functional behavioral assessments for a classified student. I'm sorry, students. Okay, and then we have one commendation tonight. Michaela Stokes. Okay, I will not butcher that tonight, I promise the president. She's a junior at Bayonne High School. She's being recognized, she's elected to the New Jersey State Board of Student Councils. She's going to be the incoming recording secretary, and this is by the committee of the whole.
This is quite an honor because this student was in competition with students from all over the state of New Jersey. We've had many other students that have achieved this honor over the years, and we're really pleased. And I really think that our students are getting prepared for this because we do have quite a viable leadership program in the elementary school. So by the time the students get here, they actually are extremely good leaders and they know what to do. So, I'm very proud of Michaela. She was one of our students that was in the elementary school, and she was a leader there at Mary J. Donahue School, and now she's a leader here at Bayonne High School.
I happen to know Michaela, a wonderful young lady.
She
She's
is.
not only, and she's such a well-rounded girl. I mean, besides the fact that she's involved in this, she's also an honor student. She's also a cheerleader. So, I mean, she just has the whole package. So,
She does.
very proud of her. And her mom.
Yes, her
I better
mom
say
works
that.
very, very
Yes.
hard with her. Her mom is employed with us as a security guard, so you'll know.
Okay, we'll start the non-consent. I'll start with number 35. This is additional personnel to parent workshops. I just know that some trustees have to abstain on this, so is there a move and a second? Carol?
I'll second.
Okay, so it'll be moved by trustee Cruden, and I'll go over all the moves in seconds, and it will be seconded by trustee Finner. And then the only other resolution I have for outside is 37. This is one of our teachers, their assignment, and percentage of her salary that's being covered by the grant, assigned to the grant. You'll see another resolution that has to do with this employee. We have to do that resolution to do this, but this one I can do outside, the other I have to do inside. Same thing, who would like to move in second?
I'll move.
Mr.
One
Garrett?
question on this,
Sure.
Dr. McGee. I'm not understanding the switching here from,
Wait, you got,
we
no,
can do that
30.
inside?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We'll do the other half inside, we could do this one here.
Thank you.
So it's trustee Garwick and trustee Desmond. Superintendent, that's all I have for outside, but we are a little short on time.
Okay, I'll go as quickly as possible. Good evening to everyone. I would like to share some good news. At the last meeting, we had more time, so I was able to share quite a bit of good news. But I just wanted to give you a picture of the 8 students that are on scholarship from our Academy of Health and Medical Sciences. These are the 8 students. They were with us yesterday with Director Craig and myself, and I met them and we had quite a good talk about what their responsibility is, being that they are being granted scholarships to go to this program. And just so that you will recall, they are going to be going to school 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Thursday at Jersey City Medical Center, the EMT school, and they're going to work on Saturdays also. So these kids will start at 6 o'clock and go to 10 o'clock, and that will be a big part of their program. And they have many, many hours, 220 hours that they have to put in. And after they finish and they get their certification, they pass the test, they'll be certified to be EMTs. So we're very, very proud of them, and it was a very nice meeting. They took off on their first class. We bused them there with an aide, and so we're happy that this is actually going to happen. Also, Director Craig and myself had the opportunity again to meet with the director of the program, so we could just go over the schedules and making sure that the students were going to be in a safe environment and, you know, what their responsibilities are. So we had a good talk. But as we evolved on the talk, his name is Steve Cohen. He's the director of Jersey City Medical Center EMT, St. Barnabas. And we were talking about CPR, and I told him that so many of the administrators in our district are trained, all our coaches are trained. And so he familiarized me with a new program that's coming out, because we were talking about security, and we happened to have a lockdown, and he was locked down with us today because it was one of our drills. And we were talking about a new program that's coming out. I don't know if you know about this, Carol. It's called BCON. BCON means blood control. So as there is training, again, with CPR and defibrillators and all of that, there's a new program that they want to train educators in BCON, because in so many of the situations where there have been unfortunate shootings, what has happened that people actually bled to death. So a BCON would be a process where you could actually put a bandage on that would stop the bleeding and tourniquet, and you would be trained in it. He said it's a simple training. He said it's only 2 hours, that he certainly could do it here. And I said, but how expensive would it be? And I said, we certainly would have to check our liability on it, you know, to ask our staff to do this type of training or saving. And he said that he would be very happy to work with us. So I said, well, if St. Barnabas would use us as a pilot, because we would be the first school district in Hudson County to be involved with it, I said, I think that we would look into it. I would talk to the board about it, but first we would have to check liabilities and responsibilities. So I thought it was something interesting to get involved with and get more information. So I'll report to you next month about it. Also, at the end of the week, or I should say beginning of February, but we won't meet till then, I want to remind you that the Bayonne High School Junior Drama Society is doing their program of Annie. And I know we have, as in the past, 60-some-odd students. I know trustees Desmond's grandchildren, how many are going to be in it?
Only one this time.
Only
The
one
other's
in
not
it.
old enough.
Okay, one of her grandchildren are going to be in it, and I understand you have a ticket for every performance. That's a smart move. We think that's a good thing. So that being said, that the tickets can be purchased online or at the door. Also, we have another opportunity, and this is a perfect example of working with the city in a collaboration. Pete Amadeo, who is the director of Recreation at the city, brought this program to my attention. So along with Principal Maureen Brown, who's going to be our representative on the committee, it's a program which is called SNY. SNY stands for Sports New York. This is sponsored by the affiliate with the New York Mets. They're going to do a very special day for special children from grades 4 through 8. And they're bringing all of their baseball players, probably about 40 baseball players, to work with our students on the special day. And it will be held in Veterans Stadium. And they will provide the lunch for us, and the music and the activities and all the things that need to be. All we have to do is transport the kids, and I've already blocked out the day with transportation to make sure that there are no other field trips so that we don't have a problem. And they'll be bringing our special service kids up to participate in this event. So I think this is a great opportunity, and it will be down in Veterans Stadium. And we're not sure if it's going to be 200 or 300 students. We have to see how many volunteers he has and if it all is manageable. But this is the first time that this organization is doing it. And they only came to Bayonne because they had heard that we do have a population that the city works with, special students, and they heard that Board of Education, that we have a good partnership, and they just wanted to see how it all works. So this is really a good thing. May 1st. Also, I finished my 45th visit to the schools since September. As you know, I visit every school once a month, so that comes to, at the end of the school year, quite a few visits. And I was just at Broom School today, and I also had the opportunity to have cocoa with the superintendent, which is donuts and cocoa, and I had the experience to work with anywhere from a smaller school of 15 students to 25 students, and we talk, and it's a great dialogue, great opportunity for me. I enjoy it immensely. The students from Broom School were very excited to participate with me and their principal and also their moderator, and we talked about what does their school do to create community spirit, what does their student council do to create a better school culture, all of that to avoid, hopefully, and create respect and to lessen bullying and the things that Mr. Kopaz spoke about and reported to you. Also, we talked about career planning and how they can help little students understand what it is and what do you want to be when you grow up. And so they have all these different projects that they're working on. And then I ended it with Chromebooks. And I asked them, what would it be like if their principal, Mrs. Janeko, got on the loudspeaker and said, okay, boys and girls, it's the end of the day now. I just want to let everyone know, and teachers, that you cannot take your Chromebooks home. Chromebooks will not be going home anymore in the Bayonne Board of Education. Well, you had to see the kids' faces. Their mouths hung open, and I said, well, why does that bother you? So they came out with a spiel, which is what I was looking for, a spiel of activities that they do, and they told me they could not do without their Chromebooks, because the Chromebook is their new tool. It's no longer the pencil, it's no longer the ruler, it's no longer the calculator, because the calculator is built in the Chromebook now. So the students told me all the reasons and why it was important for their teachers to have Chromebooks. And if they're having a problem with something, they know the programs and apps that they can get in order to help themselves at home. And one said, I don't have to carry home as many textbooks and workbooks as we carried before. And another student said, it's much easier to write on a Chromebook when you're doing corrections, et cetera, et cetera. So, and they said, Dr. McGeehan, what would happen if we didn't vote for the principal, the president, if we had to do it by paper? You were able to tell us in a matter of moments who was going to be the president of the United States. Of course, Bayonne was wrong, because we picked Hillary. The students, that was their choice. But we instantaneously, throughout the school, as you recall, we did do that. So I just wanted you to know that the testimonials from the students in the Bayonne Board of Education, the 10,000 Chromebooks that we bought here, is quite a movement and quite a venture and something that the kids consider to be very, very important to their learning at this stage of the game. So they're going to be doing actual written testimonials. So as I get them, I'll be bringing them in and sharing them with you. Now, that's all I have. Dr. Gagnon, do you have something to say?
Excuse me, Superintendent, I have to go back to the agenda. Mr. Clark pointed out to me, there is a resolution we have to do outside. I'm going to ask everyone that has a packet, it's the bottom packet. There's a second package of agenda items, 44, starts with resolution 44. Okay, I'm going to ask you to turn to resolution 54. Just want to make sure everybody is all there. Lawyers, correct me if I do anything wrong. Obviously, Rice letters were sent. Response to one of the Rice letters was that the discussion be held in public. So I have resolution 54, which was drawn up. I presented to the board. It's a reduction in force resolution in regards to our risk manager. Any discussion on the resolution?
What kind of discussion are we looking at?
Well, first of all, if we're going to move and second it, any discussion, what we would normally do in closed session has to be done out here. I guess that's the easiest way to say it.
I'd
Right?
like to start.
I'll let the president start.
We're talking about something here that'd be a reduction. Just to start off the bat, the reason we're talking about this is that there happens to be a significant structural deficit that we really weren't aware of at the time of the hiring, let's say. Unfortunately, with this large number we're talking about, we have to address this situation because, unfortunately, the deficit we're talking about increases as each day goes on. Speaking about Mr. Patel, I can speak, is that correct?
Yeah.
I have nothing but praise. I have nothing, has he done a terrific job? I think so. I think he's been a big help to the district. But the question isn't, that's what we're discussing here, is how good a job he's doing. It's can we afford him? And that seems to be the reason for this movement tonight. If anyone else, like I said once before, we inherited this. I don't know if at the time that the people that made this decision to add this position would have done it if they knew the financial structure we're in at the moment. So that's all I have to say about it at this moment.
One quick comment on that, Trustee Broderick. On 2 occasions, I've asked, we have to kind of justify the position. And I did ask in the last year, this particular individual was hired a year ago, as of last December, as I recall. Can we document on paper how much money, in other words, does the salary justify how much this particular individual has saved the board? Can we do the balance? And I remember last week, I do believe that our insurance rates went from a 1 point, perhaps 09, Laura, to a 0.9.
You're talking about the modification factor.
Right.
And
So,
I did, at the board's request back on January 5th, I emailed Steve Williams, who handles our account at New Jersey School Board's Insurance Group. And I will read you what I asked of him, and then I will read his response. I did give this out in finance last week. Steve, I know that you gave Chris Patella the decrease in the mod factor. Now, the mod factor is for workman's comp. A perfect mod factor is for every $1 of premium, you get $1 in settlement. Well, we were at a mod factor of 102.
right.
So for every $1 of premium, our insurer was paying out $1 to make it easier. For every $100, they were paying $102 out. So it behooved us to decrease our mod factor for the last 3 years. Can those numbers be turned into a dollar figure? My board is very interested in knowing the amount of money saved and the dollar decrease associated with the mod factor decrease. And then Steve got back to me a couple of days later, dear Leo, because of variables, payroll rates, etc., it is truly not possible to give an actual dollar amount saved. However, if all remain constant from 15-16 to 16-17, the district saved $79,249 by having a lower modification factor, the mod factor that we talked about. The mod decreased by 3.57%, and applying that directly to the annual premium of $2,219,872, it equals that $79,249 savings. A more accurate way to look at it is by the 3.57% decrease. With work, the district could lower this to 10, 20, or even 30%. A neighboring Hudson County district, and I'm still trying to find out who they are, lowered their mod from a 1.2 to to a .55, a 74% decrease in a span of 6 years. This translates into millions of dollars in saved premiums and allows districts to put out a better educational product. So to answer your question, in the 1 year so far, we've saved about $79,000.
All right, well, in response to that, in the 1 year, the salary as well as the health benefit package that we have given this individual, counting not only the salary, but the health benefit factor, how much does it cost this board to maintain this person?
I think it's $86,000 was the salary and the benefits package.
So I'm not good at math, but 79 as opposed to 86 is, so
But if we
we're out
continue
about.
If we continue decreasing at the rate, this was the 1 year he's been in the position, and I'm not defending, I'm just giving you the facts and figures that I have from our carrier, New Jersey School Board's Insurance Group, that it has gone down 3.57%.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. President?
Yes,
May
sorry.
I just like to make a comment. I'm on this board perhaps a little longer, Mike and myself, than the rest of you, and coming from the private sector, it's very common in industry and business that we have a risk manager that monitors and stays on top of various things that contribute to high insurance costs. And that could be workers' comp, accident, safety, etc. I've been trying for years to get a risk manager in this district because I know the direct correlation between somebody that's tasked with looking at the things that will drive up cost as opposed to driving down cost. He finally came on about a year ago. And yes, you have some preliminary data that shows the modification factor going down to now it's, as you mentioned, 0.96. But the other thing that you have to consider is that as you go forward, one of the things that he came to this board with, probably in a December, November timeframe, was the idea of looking at our insurance policy and going to the city of Bayonne and looking at their carrier and seeing if we could piggyback on their carrier with our insurance policies. That alone, while we won't see that immediately, we're only in January and it just took effect, that potentially could save us anywhere from $150,000 to $300,000 conservatively, because we're eliminating the broker's fees in that. So when I say that an individual is doing a good job and he's worth his weight, that what we pay, with all due respect, if we would have known about the financial difficulties when we hired him, I would have hired him sooner. I would have hired him a year earlier because the payback is tremendous. And I think we're making a terrible, terrible mistake by having an individual that started the ball rolling to save this district thousands of dollars to not be respected and just go off the side. I think we're making a mistake, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Mr. President, may I? In response to Trustee Garlick, I'd like to point out that not all districts have risk managers. Most districts in even Hudson County alone do not have this position of a risk manager, because unfortunately, in these hard budgetary times, it's a position that is almost a luxury that this board can afford. And in other school districts, most of the responsibilities of Mr. Patello, although he's done a tremendous job, most of them are, if not all, are under the responsibility of the BA. So the BA can easily handle the position, or I should say the responsibilities of Mr. Patel at this time, because that actually falls in privy under the job description, as according to the state of New Jersey. Just want to say that.
Thank you.
I have a question for the BA. When was Mr. Patella hired?
I believe it was December of 15.
So in December of 15, he comes on, we have a budgetary, is it 15? Or is it
Yes.
16?
15.
15? So we don't save any money until December of 16 when we have a problem. For a whole year, we let this money go out the door without knowing about it. Am I missing
No,
something here?
yes, you really are.
If you're hired in December 15, and you inform the board when I come on in December of 16, that all of a sudden we have a crisis, and now here's a way to save money. Why wasn't that brought to the attention of the board all during 2016? January, February, March? I mean, there's a gap there when what was happening.
Actually,
I don't understand insurance, so explain it. It sounds like we lost money. rather
I'd
than
like to
saving.
comment on,
Yeah,
but
I know.
Mary Jane, go right ahead.
because I
Trustee
do some of
Donovan.
this, frankly, the savings can't be measured till the end of a year, because you spend all that time, you train people, you go around to facilities, and look at potential liabilities. It's a whole culmination of things, so you find out when you get your next bill that you've taken corrective action or preventative action, and it has net savings to you is X amount, or the mod factor or something else. That is definitely part of it. That's what was hard to explain to people when we started this process, is to convey that it would be at the end of the first year that you would be able to calculate a savings, but it was happening throughout the course of the year. So I just want to say, that is hard to calculate until after the fact. And it's always in front of you.
Mr. President, did Mr. Patella want to speak?
Mr. Garrett, do you want?
Yes, I just wanted to piggyback on what Trustee Desmond has said. It's a very valid question to ask, how come you don't see immediate type of savings? Because generally, insurance policies, when they're issued, are based on a historical activity previous to the policy. And then you need a track record of, under the policy, of what improvements, changes, and modifications you've done in the management of the process to reflect the savings. And he's been on a year, and that's why you see the savings now. And quite frankly, a continuation of the savings now, as I mentioned, 79,000 and potentially 300,000. We're literally possibly going to throw away $500,000 a year that could be built on as recurring savings by having somebody dedicated 100% to it that literally pays for their own keep. Thank you.
Maybe I'm just being like, I'm not math oriented, but $79,000 was the savings. But what did it cost this board to maintain the position?
I think we just mentioned that, it was $86,000 a year.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So we're in a deficit for having it. And
No,
at
no.
this point, we're not.
We got a piggyback on an insurance policy with the city that will show a savings going forward.
I have a question.
But is it due to this person's position that we were able to piggyback on the prescription plan? Was it solely because that we had this particular person?
To my knowledge, there was nobody on this board or administration that took the initiative to deal with the city and negotiate and go back on to their insurance plan, with the exception of Mr. Patella. That's to my knowledge, unless somebody will correct me.
But I have a question. Could someone other than a risk manager have made that phone call? So the
Perhaps.
question is, could the BA?
But they didn't.
But they didn't. Okay, I understand. But the BA could in the future do so, correct?
Perhaps,
The
yeah.
BA can recommend interlocal agreements and things of that nature. You could find cost-saving measures going forward?
We try every day.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
going back to my initial statement is that I'm sure no one here questions Mr. Patel's abilities and how good a job he's done. It strictly comes back to a financial situation that's in dire need at the moment. And I know when we looked at some of these things, part of our process was, things that were added, not replaced. Also, things that were that would have the least impact on student population itself. And that's partly why this is here tonight.
Well, we have a move and a second, and I guess, same as we do inside, are we gonna poll the board?
Or are we going to vote?
Are we allowed to-
You're not
we
voting.
can't-
We're not voting out here, but as we do with our resolutions inside, is there a move and a second?
You can poll or not poll, but you have to move and second to get it on the agenda.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Oops, excuse me.
Just one bit of information I need. Totally, besides salary,
No, just sign mine.
what is the total cost to the board to maintain a risk manager? I'm asking Leo.
Well, it would be the salary and the benefits, which we, in the $86,000 range.
I thought it was 97.
So $86,000 includes the benefits?
Right, yes. Go
Includes the
ahead. I
benefits?
thought it was too.
Thank you.
That does, doesn't matter.
Are we gonna poll, or we're gonna
I
just?
don't
We'll just
I don't
vote.
think so. I think you should just vote outside.
Yeah.
Just vote outside? And I will turn the meeting
No,
back.
you don't have to poll, you can just vote outside.
Just
It'll be
vote
on the
when the
consent.
time comes to vote.
Okay, then I'll turn the meeting back over to superintendent.
Okay, thank you. I believe, Dr. Degnan?
Just briefly, we had an opportunity at our focus meeting this week to work with a team of administrators on our strategic plan. The strategic plan, again, I introduced in September, is what we find important as a district and what's educationally sound. It's broken down into 4 areas: student achievement, professional development, technology, and operations. And we had a good meeting to see what's on target and what we need to work on, and I will report to you in February at the workshop and give you an update. Also, we had an opportunity to work with the curriculum committee, and we focused on the graduation requirements for the class of 2016 to 2021. Our portfolio appeals process is in place, our action plan for park, and of course, planning for the Park Fest in May. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lopez?
have a few items for inside.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Smith?
Yes, this past Monday, we had the local agreement in effect with the city. They utilized Nicholas Oresco School for a zoning board meeting. Some 450 to 500 citizens attended that meeting. They are looking for a future date for the zoning board to use either the Bayonne High School auditorium or go back to Nicholas Oresco School. We were very prepared for the storm this past week. In facilities today with the Superintendent of Buildings and Grounds, Mike Kubert. He told me that no reported damage throughout the district other than branches and things of that nature that were blown about by the wind, so we're very happy about that we had no major flood damage during this past nor'easter. And next Wednesday, as I reported in Finance, I'm going to go up to Hackensack to address the Assembly Committee on School Funding. A couple of trustees indicated that they might want to attend with me. So what I will do this week, I will craft a letter. You get 3 minutes before the committee. I will call tomorrow to get a spot for us. And we'll go up and we'll plead our case of underfunding to the District of Bayonne.
Is it 3 minutes per person or per district, one representative?
It says 3 minutes per
I read it
person.
too, it does, yeah.
So if we want to send a number of
I don't know if I
people,
can
Yeah, that's
sum
what
up
I'm thinking.
3 minutes.
all right, we'll all get our 3 minutes of fame, so to
I
speak.
don't know if I can sum it up in 3.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult.
It's a pass the
So,
baton.
but I will get something out to you by Friday's mailing to the trustees as to the who, what, where, and when, and we can get up there and plead our case to the Assembly. Thank you, that's all I have.
All right,
Superintendent.
thank you, Mr. Smith. And also, I want to report to the board that we did not have any overtime because of the storm, so which is a great thing. And we're doing quite well. I don't want to say it, I'm not jinx myself, as far as overtime is in storms. And this is something that has been an ongoing expense that we have to deal with snow removal and et cetera, and overtime, et cetera. So let's hope that it continues that way, because the other snowfall was during the weekend, and we were able to take care of that, very carefully. And the sun came out, so that was the end of a lot of that. So that's all I have for today.
At this time, we're going to adjourn to a closed session to discuss